Hey, everybody. If you're watching on replay, put in the comments, hashtag replay. Give everybody a minute or two to jump on. Here we go. As you're popping in, tell me hi, tell me what you're working on. All right. Try and not get stuff so shaky. Hi, Diane, Shar, Janessa. Awesome. So I am it went fairly smoothly, knock on wood, this week to start up both YouTube and Facebook. So if for some reason you're on one and it's the feed cuts off or whatever, you can always pop on to the opposite one. Karen, Stacy, Oriana, Brenda, Joyce. Oh, I got quite a crowd. I didn't know if I was going to get anybody or not, thinking it's the week before the holidays. Everybody probably has a gazillion things to do. My mom even has something to do and she can't be on here tonight. Debbie. Diane working on a sweater you started. Oh no, Linda working on a sweater I started last winter and never finished. That sounds familiar. Diane working on older projects. Hi, Terry, Malcolm, Susan Merrill from Florida. I wouldn't mind being in Florida right now. I tell you what. Julie, Lori. I feel like I see you guys a lot, but I don't. I see your names and I see your old profile pictures pop up, but some of you, it's been a while since you've popped in the shop to see me, and I miss seeing your faces in person. Susan working on a headband that matches a sweater I just finished. Oh, cool. Holly working on hats. All right. Well, since I'm like a little bit organized today, it's 7 o'clock, so we can go ahead and get started officially. Welcome to Monday Motivation. Today is December 19th. It's a couple days before Christmas. It's, I think, day 2 into Hanukkah. And it's holiday season. Hi, Bonnie. Lisa working on several projects at once. Linda, yes, I would love it. An hour and a half away. You just need to make a day of it. Bring friends, get lunch while you're here within the marketplace. There's so much good food to choose from. There are quite a few other retail vendors in here. So just need to make a little road trip. Janessa just started an Afghan. Hi, Fran. Hi, Cindy. Okay, so my name is Kristen. I am the owner of the Little Yarn Shop located in downtown Saginaw, Michigan, inside the SVRC marketplace. The entire market is open typically Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We will be closed this coming Saturday. I found that out the other day. I did post about it. I tried to make a little graphic, but I don't know if it worked or not to change it right out on Facebook. But the higher ups that own the building made the executive decision that the building will be closed completely over the weekend. Jackie, you and Stephen West. Hi, Joe. Hi, Mary. So keep that in mind. If you have people that you still need to buy for, we have really good gift ideas. If you have other knitters in your lives, if your family members, got buzzes. If your family members need last minute gifts, we're here for you. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to 6. Thursday, I believe the girls will be here late for social knitting. So if worst case scenario, there's a yarn emergency Thursday evening, you could pop in then. Hi, Sherry. But of course, we've got gift cards. I have lots of needle sets in stock. Chaigu, Haya Haya. Well, I don't have too many Haya Haya sets in stock. The Mindful Collection, Knitter's Pride, Gingers from Knitter's Pride, Cocoa Knits. I still have a couple of the blocking towels left. I have a couple makers boards. So if families or friends need ideas from you guys, just send them my way and we can we can put something together for you. If there's something you want, you can always message the shop or tell us one way or another. And we can put a note in your account as kind of like a wish list. Like I know Jody's got her eye on a set of the new Chigu yellow needles. So if somebody were to come in and say, what do we get her? That's what they get. Deb won't be here Thursday evening, so we're just meeting. Oh, that's right. She did tell me that. So maybe not Thursday evening, unless Karen decides to stay late, but she usually doesn't stay too late. What else? The weekend, we had our magical day at the market here this past Saturday. Oh, and as far as I know, we are open 10 to 4 on New Year's Eve. If they change that, I will put it out there to the universe and let everybody know. But as far as I know, we're still open New Year's Eve. So Saturday, we had the magical day in the market here. Santa and Mrs. Claus were here for a couple hours. There were some Disney princesses here for a couple hours. And up in the ballroom, we had a small setup for, they called it the Santa shop. So parents, grandparents could bring kiddos in and let them shop for things for family members and friends. It was very sweet. Lots of kids coming through with lots of good ideas. I sold out of almost all of my tape measures. They were a big hit. Pixar, it didn't happen. What didn't happen? Melissa, I'm so confused. This is the problem with things being a little bit slow is I get onto so many other things, I forget what I've talked about already. Let's see. Oh, I also wanted to mention gift ideas. Sarah at Purple Sage Beads has lots of gift ideas. It is not just a bead store. She has jewelry already made. One of the things that was really popular with some of the kids and some of the adults this weekend were like wire wrapped stone pendants on like a leather cord. Oh, Santa. Yeah, I didn't take any pictures with any of the celebrities. Maybe I should have. There is a picture out there of me up in the ballroom though, rocking my red and green towel that I made. So there's that. So Sarah at Purple Sage Beads has a lot of gift ideas, Thrive Creative Innovations. I know her hours are a little bit shortened right now. She just had a baby about a month ago. So she has it open when she's able to get help. But beyond the yarn store, there are lots of really great places here to get gift ideas, to get gifts for people that are supporting small local businesses. Thank you, E. That was next on my agenda to talk about. So let's talk knitting. Let's talk about things I finished. I finished my V-back tee DK. That's what I'm wearing. The first thing I will say is the neck feels a little bit tight, but part of that is because I didn't do the cast on that the designer recommended. She recommended you do a tubular cast on, and I was lazy and just did a standard long tail cast on, and I think it's a little bit snug. But other than that, it was a really smooth knit. I will show you guys the back of it so you can see. Earlier they were asking how low the V actually is. So there's no waist shaping per se. You do have a line here with some decreases that account for the increases of the V itself, but it's not crazy. I'm in a very tight space, you guys. It's not terribly low. The yarn that I used was Barocco. I say Medina, they might say Medina, but one of the things I wanted to mention last week that I think I forgot, but any Barocco yarn, I have access to any Barocco yarn. So if there is something that you like that is a line that I don't carry here in the shop, still reach out to me because Barocco will drop ship to customers. It's just a flat fee and they will get the exact number of skeins of whatever it is to you. So like if you liked this yarn in this color and I was out of stock of it, or I don't have it in the shop yet, but Malcolm, it could go either way. That's one of the beauties of this pattern. You could wear the V in the front or the back. Technically, when you're following the pattern, you need to refer to the V as the back, which is kind of counterintuitive because it seems like a V should be in the front. But remember, it's called the V back T. So I haven't worn it the other way yet. Honestly, this is the first time I've worn it since I blocked it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that's what I finished. I was telling Melissa before we got going, so I'll tell all of you too. I showed my husband's sweater last week. He wore it. He wore it out at least 3 times. He wore it to work. And then we went out to dinner with a friend on Friday and he wore his sweater. And we went out to dinner with friends on Saturday and he wore his sweater. So hubby likes it. I'm sure many of you saw the picture of him in it too. What am I working on? I am working on my At the Seaside tee. So I was talking about this one last week. And I really like the construction of making up for lost time. Yeah. It took me, I think maybe I said this. What's today? The 19th. Yeah, it took me one day less than, or exactly 365 days to get the sweater done. So the V-back tee is what I am working on. I'm using, the solid I'm using is, I'm almost out. I thought I was going to get away with 1 skein, but I'm going to need a second one because that's all I have left. And I have like a dozen or so more rows plus sleeves. So that is the Knitted Wit Sport in the color Cedar. And my contrast color is Sweet William, the name of the color, Sweet William from Wonderland Yarns. So these two together. I had quite a bit of knitting time this weekend, you guys, so bear that in mind when I show you. I was going to do the coral, but then Diane fell in love with the coral and I had to come up with another suggestion. So I love this color too. It's like Malabrigo has a color that's called Hollyhock that's similar to this outside color. Michelle Mitchell, last Friday, I posted a photo of her in her sail away, and it's this as the main color and kind of a deep green as one of her contrast colors. And that kind of solidified like, yep, I like the look. So here's where we stand with my top. It starts up at the collar. There are a few short rows to build up the back of the collar a little bit. My stitch markers are just there so I don't lose them. So there's the back. There's the front. It is like raspberries, yes. Hi, Aunt Jackie. So I'm done with the V. You start back and forth for a while until you complete the V and then you join to knit in the round. So I've separated for the sleeves. I'm 1 inch down of the 3 inches I need before I stop striping and just go to the solid color. I am doing, the original uses 3 colors. I'm using 2. So in theirs, they have a white on top with the blue and then a gray on the bottom. I'm just using my gradient so it will get darker as it goes down. I'm starting to, I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Probably not with the light being so bright, but can you see that I'm starting to get into a little bit more color with this most recent stripe? It's still pretty light when you look at what's left in the ball too. So I've got a ways to go on that before I get into that really vibrant color. But pretty soon I will be down to knitting just one color. I debated for a few days after I talked about this. Let me make sure I'm not losing stitches here. After I talked about this pattern last Monday, I sat and really read through it and debated for a couple days on whether I was actually going to knit the sweater or not. It does require you to follow instructions closely. I was excited because it has techniques I've not done before. It uses what they call, I'm calling them the forward and backward lifted cable increase. Something I've never done before, where you go like 2 stitches over one way or the other and use the purl bump from the wrong side. It's difficult to describe. It looks complicated when you look at her photo tutorial, but she does have a link to videos that make a lot more sense. So Karen and Deb suggested, and a few of the other girls that were here, suggested I still continue with it, just with the caveat that you need to really pay close attention to the rows and what they're doing, other than being, how do I want to describe it? It's written out fairly well where you need row by row instructions. She gives you row by row instructions. There is a little bit of repeat the last 2 rows an additional 3 times, something like that. But one of the things I love is a lot of places throughout the pattern, she's giving you stitch counts, and she uses markers like A, B, C. And so your 2 marker A's mark the back raglan, your B's mark the front. So she identifies that and breaks down the stitch count between each, which I think is brilliant. And it just looks like a lot when you're looking at this and you see a row of instructions. It just looks like a lot. But if you take it slowly, and if you are somebody who's not that comfortable knitting sweaters, I would suggest that you could tackle it, but set time aside where you can sit in here or come to one of Deb's drop-in classes to really get things going. I'm digging it so far. One of the things I thought about is for the larger sizes, you would probably need 2 of the gradient cakes to get through the body of the sweater. And it's written, it has instructions to do short sleeves or long sleeves. I'm going to do just little short sleeves on this, but I started thinking, if you were to make a larger one and you needed 2 of these gradient cakes, you have 2 options. You can start knitting with one and it would go like light to dark and then start dark to light again. The other thing you could do would be, follow me on this for a second. It made sense in my head, so I have to make sure it makes sense when I say it out loud too. Alternating skeins, which, because this is a 2-row stripe, what I would do is like knit the first stripe with one of the cakes in the light color, knit the second stripe in the other light, from the light end of the other one. And I would, because I don't want to carry strands that long, I would probably cut them in between. This one, it's 6 rows and you can carry the yarn. But if you're alternating skeins every other one, I would probably cut. But what that does is it gets you equally through both gradients at a similar rate. And What you could then do is when you're switching to the body, when you switch from, when you put your sleeves on waste yarn, there are still stripes that are written in the pattern to continue down the sleeves. With one gradient cake, there's really no way to do that in a way that the sleeves match the body, because I do the sleeves after I do the body. I'm going to be in a darker color. My stripes up here are going to be dark. If when you split for your sleeves, you then only work from one of your two cakes, knit the body with one of those. Use the other one to go back and knit your sleeves. I would knit a stripe on one sleeve and a stripe on the other sleeve. You could, yeah. That's essentially what it is, like every other one. But only to this point, only to the point when you separate for your sleeves. So what that's going to do is, if you're only using one cake for the body, so that's going to go light to dark. When you get to the second cake, starting light to dark, you'll have the light up at your sleeves. Again, it makes sense in my head. I just don't know if I'm explaining it very well. But if it's something you're thinking about, I can walk you through it more one-on-one. But that's honestly been one of my struggles with doing like a longer sleeve gradient sweater out of a gradient cake of yarn versus making your own sort of fade with different yarns, because then it's easier to set yarn aside for your sleeves. So just something to think about. My brain is, I was telling my husband this last night, my brain is going 15 different directions in at once, as you all know very clearly. So I sat here while I was reading through that pattern and debating whether I wanted to knit it or not. I did force myself to work on my Peter Easy men's vest. So here's the picture of the little picture of a little vest, men's vest. I'm using Barocco Ultra Alpaca, and it is simply just knitting in the round forever, what feels like forever. I'm not even measuring. When I do things like this, I tend to just knit a whole bunch before I measure until I think I might be close. Otherwise, it's too depressing. In the past, I have like put a removable stitch marker in so I can see how much progress I'm making, but I did work a little bit on that. So those are the two things that I am actively working on right now. Up next, pattern wise, Deb and a few of the ladies are talking about where's my note here? It's a sweater by Jill Zielinski, Knitterella, called In a Flurry. It is a color work yoked top down sweater. I believe it's top down. I didn't actually check that part, but it has the color work across the yoke of it. And they're using Barocco Vintage for that. And if it's something that if you've thought about doing a color work sweater, this might be a fun one to do. Starting in January and February, I think they're going to kind of dedicate their Monday nights. A handful of them anyways will be dedicating their Monday evenings here to working on the color work, learning stranded techniques, all of that fun stuff. Deb's done quite a bit of stranded color work, so she's by far the one you want to learn that from versus me. Karen could help, obviously. Karen's got knowledge in like every aspect, but again, just like this striped sweater, anything is doable if you have the patience and the time to really put the effort into it, I guess would be the way to say it. So that's kind of, I might actually be doing that with them. We'll see. I was looking in my closet the other day and I only have two sweaters that have the stranded color work, and I want more because I like how they look. They just have scared me a little bit in the past. The knitted wit is sport weight. This is worsted. It calls for the actual yarn that Jill uses in the pattern. She lists it as a DK, but it is her, it's like a woolly wool yarn that knits closer to worsted than it does a DK. The gauge is like 20 stitches in 4 inches on 6s, which is, I think, pretty close to what vintage calls for. Yep, won't work unless, you could make it work if you put mohair with it. It'd be like your favorite thing to do. You guys, I can see her on my little screen. She's making faces at me. She's not a fan of mohair. But just in general, you could do, well, I don't know, using mohair in a stranded sweater might look kind of cool. It might hide some of your little tension issues too. That's a thought. So that is what is coming up. For those of you that, I think that's all I have to talk about with active knitting. For those of you who ordered either the Swift or the Winder or both when I was running that sale, they have shipped. They shipped them to me last week. Last time I tracked them earlier today, it said I should have them by this coming Friday. I always forget stuff's going to take a lot longer when it comes to the holidays. So I don't actually know if I will have those before the weekend. But as soon as I get them in, I will let those of you who did order know. And hopefully get them to you so you can get them wrapped and under the tree. Let's see what else. Oh, I have a note here to to excuse how I got so much knitting done this weekend. And I'm not. Yesterday was sports are on TV all day. It's a good excuse to sit on the couch day. So with the soccer, with the World Cup championship on, we watched that. I tell you what, when the USA played in their final game, and this final, those are like the first 2 soccer games I've ever actually sat and watched in its entirety. I knew nothing about the rules or positions or anything, and I kind of enjoyed it. I don't have any nieces or nephews close by who play soccer, whose games I watch. It's just never been something that I've been around a whole lot. So I enjoyed it watching the World Cup. I don't know if any of you followed any of that this weekend or over the last month. It sounds like I'm not the only one that was in this position where it was a new thing for me. So soccer is going to get bigger, or football, as it's called. And the finals got done like 5 minutes before the Lions game started. So it was perfect to just keep sitting and watching UK football and then American football. Victoria and I did not go out for coffee on Sunday. She had to work. It is, Melissa says shirts are expected to be delivered by Wednesday. So those of you who ordered the shirts with the sayings on them, I should have them soon. So yeah, with the holiday coming up, Victoria's working a lot of hours and working late nights. So we didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to go for coffee, primarily because she likes to sleep in too when she can. But we went today. We went this morning to Creation out on Tittabawassee Road. Always good. We like that place. it's nice because it's close by and it's local roaster and locally owned, and why not? And now that she's working, she's been working in the coffee shop, in the cafe in Barnes and Noble. So she, surprisingly, she's not coffeeed out yet. I don't know if she ever will be. She comes home every day with some new, different drink. What else is coming up? I thought I made more notes about things going on after the first of the year, but I guess not. I mean, what is coming up is Christmas and Hanukkah and New Year's. And then, I don't know, we're in the thick of January and snow and hunkering down and doing more knitting. This might actually be a pretty short one this week. I feel like I don't, oh, I was going to mention, the reason I sat here by the cotton was because I wanted to mention, if you didn't want to, or you wanted to do something other than a self-striping yarn for this top, yes, Joyce, I do. And okay, classes. Yes, I need to talk about classes. The Malabrigo Verano. So all of these, this whole bin all the way down is the Malabrigo Verano, which is their 100% cotton. They call it somewhere between a worsted and a DK weight yarn. Would be really cool to work with this either in one color, because you do see on the V side, you get to see that shaping. So that comes through, or you could make a fade with them. The same goes for the universal. If you wanted just a solid color, the Cotton Supreme DK would work. This is the yarn that I got all of the 32 or 42 colors of. So I have a lot of that too, if you thought you wanted to do this or another DK top in a solid. So yes, class is coming up. I mentioned it last week, but I will mention it again, that there is a mystery knit along that starts the first week in January for double knitting. And Joyce will be here starting that first Friday in January from noon to 2 as a drop-in help class for double knitting, for working on that mystery knit along. So it's a scarf. It has something to do with cats, but I can't remember the name of it. I should have my notes here from week to week. That would help me substantially. But it's done in a way where you get blocks every week, and there is a section in there that is non-mirrored knitting, non-mirrored double knitting. There we go. The cat love scarf, Cal. So the pattern is available on Ravelry. It is not a pattern that's enabled for in-store sales, so I can't sell it to you through the shop. If you don't have access to Ravelry and you need us to get it for you, there is a way we can gift it to you, but we don't then have access to be able to print it. So keep that in mind. But it goes 8 weeks. So it's a nice long knit along that looks like it won't be too intense. I could be very wrong though, because I have not done very much double knitting. And then starting the second or third, I think it's the second Friday in second. Okay. Starting the second Friday in January. My brain keeps wanting to say October, you guys. I don't know why. The second Friday in January, Suzanne's traditional using double points, cuff down sock class is happening. That goes 2:30 to 4:30 Friday afternoons. If you want to sign up for classes, the sock class has a couple spots still left, 3 or 4 spots still left in that. So there's plenty of room. You can sign up online. Melissa just posted the link. or in the shop or over the phone. We can get you registered and set for, it's a 4-week class. So classes will meet every Friday for 4 weeks. 2:30 to 4:30 PM. Keep that in mind too, when you are thinking about popping in. Typically Friday afternoons have been pretty slow, which is why we started scheduling classes. But that means there won't be a whole lot of time for, or a whole lot of space, I guess, for social knitting Friday afternoons come January. So you just have to take a class and come in and socialize that way. The Knitting Basics and Beyond class starts back up in January. That's a 6-week class that Deb teaches Wednesday evenings. Next week, there will not be a Monday motivation. Deb's not doing drop-in Mondays or class Wednesday or Thursday next week. Class Wednesday or social knitting Thursday next week. As far as I know, I think that's what she told me. I think we discussed the week between Christmas and New Year's was going to be kind of a low key, spend time with friends and family kind of week. If something is different with that, I will post it on the Facebook page to let you guys know. I really think that might be all I have for you guys today. I had stuff to talk about, just not very much this week. I hope everybody has a safe holiday season, that you're able to celebrate with friends and family. Enjoy the wonder that this time of year brings. I hear there's a storm coming, so be safe and have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year if I don't see you in person before then. And that means the next time I see you all on Monday Motivation, it will be 2023. That's going to take some getting used to. This year just flew by. So if I don't see you all this week, stop in and see us Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to 6, or next week. Yeah, I hope you enjoy and have a great weekend. And I guess that's all. I guess that's all I have for that.